Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk. I'm your host, Asia the Bird. I have a very special guest with me. She is a businesswoman, a blogger, author. She is also a world-renowned nail artist, and she is also an educator. Please welcome the legendary Sam Biddle. Welcome to the show.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing?
All right. So, how's everything in the UK, especially with the pandemic and things of that nature? How's everything down there?
Well, first and foremost, it's wet because we're now going into autumn and we're all thinking, what happened to this glorious summer? We're just coming out of a second lockdown. We actually, the beauty industry all can get back to work next week. So, I mean, we're okay. We went down and then we went back up again with our numbers. But I feel that maybe we should have been in lockdown a bit sooner and for a bit longer. But because of Christmas and you have your Thanksgiving, you know, it's that time of year where we want to get together with family. And of course, you know, it's that safety thing as well. And we're never going to hide from COVID. We're all going to end up with it eventually, but it's just making sure that the infrastructure can still maintain, you know, us and take care of us and look after our fires and you know, man the streets and police the streets and stuff like that. And that's ultimately what we're trying to protect. You know, my son is a policeman in the Met. In the Metropolitan Police, and my husband works for the NHS, and my daughter she's a teacher. So all of these people, we're protecting those people so that we can carry on with our lives, you know?
Yeah, right. Like with here, it's kind of like it was in lockdown at first, and then stuff started to reopen, but you have certain areas within the United States where it's going to go back to lockdown and things of that nature. So it's this thing where now it's like a new normal where we have to like wear masks and we got to do hand sanitizer and things like that. So you see a lot of places where they say they require a mask, you know, wear hand sanitizer and things of that nature. So yeah, I'm glad everything is, you know, well with you on your end. I want to kind of start off with your upbringing. Like, how did you go up? How did you also get into the nail and beauty industry? Like, what made you so interested in it?
Okay, my upbringing was my father was in the services, so I traveled all over the world. As a child, I was what we call an army brat. I don't know if you have that saying, but it's a forces brat, really. I met my husband at school whilst we lived in Cyprus. So I was always a nomad. I traveled everywhere. We settled in Dorset, which is in South England. As a child, so I went and did my A levels. I'm not sure what grade that is at yours, but it's the last stage of school that you do before you leave school and go on to university or your college. So we came here. So I've only lived in England at that time I arrived in England when I was 16, and that was the first time I'd ever lived in England. So fast forward, I got married to my childhood sweetheart at 19. He was in the army, so we moved up to Colchester and had children when I was about 25, and they are now 25 years old. So you know they're all grown up and they're sort of gone and have their own families in London. But I joined the industry. Oops, daisy, gosh. Sorry. My notification. Let me just hold on 1 second. How do I turn this off? How do I turn do not disturb for an hour? We'll start that again. The industry, I joined the industry when I was in my 30s, I think just before my 30s. And I did it because of art. I wasn't actually interested in nails or beauty, if I'm totally honest with you. I just loved nail art. I did nail art on myself. I was obsessed by it. And then I realized I needed nails to do nail art on. So I went to a company and they said, well, you need to train to be a nail technician. So it just fell into place. The kids had just gone to school and I don't know. It was just an accident. And then I found I had a salon, and then eventually I found education. And really that is where everything is, that's where I found my real juice, you know, that passion for this industry was for education, for helping other nail technicians find their, you know, passion and craft and abilities. And I went through, you know, I was a brand ambassador. I am a brand ambassador for Orly Nails, and I'm also I used to be an educator for EasyFlow Nail Systems and IBD, which was all under AII umbrella. So I used to travel the world for them. So really that's it, you know, that in a nutshell, really small nutshell. But over time I used to train and teach and travel, and I went all over the world doing my own classes. And as I got older, I have a degenerative back spine condition, and over the past 5 years I found it extremely difficult to travel. And I realized if I could still teach online, that would be great. And that's really how I've managed to develop Be Inspired Online. And I've now grown it to a place where other educators can actually produce their classes. And I really love technology and innovation and marketing. And that's where it's never been about nails and beauty for me. It's been about art, education, marketing, and just helping other people find their voice within their career. That's what I do for a living. I just happen to do it with nail technicians because, you know, they're women and they're all really powerful and they're really strong and with, you know, and creative. And I recognize that and I love it. And that's why that's my job.
Oh, that's wonderful. Have you gotten to different like avenues of art, like painting, drawing, or like pottery? Like what's your experience in those different avenues?
Well, it's funny. My mother's a potter, and when we first got married, my husband and I mean, I think we were married for about 5 or 6 years, and then we joined the family business, the pottery business. So my husband then went into pottery, and I used to do do sculpting as well with the pottery. I focus a lot of my attention outside of my job on digital art. So I have a website called Art by Samantha, and it sells my digital art. I actually sell quite a lot of my art.
Oh,
and
it's
just art I do, and then I get it printed on a canvas. In fact, this one behind me is one of my paintings, and it's yeah, I just do cool. And it's all done on my iPad, and I get to do it wherever I am in the world. I can travel and paint. So, but I do so much on nails, and there's such tiny little canvases.
Right.
So when I come to do it on a big canvas, I don't know. I don't fancy it. Whereas I can do it on a little tablet, and I can make it small and make it big. My mum's an artist as well, so she's a professional artist too. Yeah.
And that's really cool. I like how you branch into different avenues. That's kind of like with me. I started like getting into nail art because I remember my father asked me like, hey, what do you want to do as a career? Like at 13 years old. And I said, I want to do nails. And he was like, you want to do nails? I was like, yeah. Like, you know, it was something that I had an interest in doing because I saw my mom get her nails done. So that's when I got into nail art, like when I was like 13 or 14. And then it branched out for me doing like hand and arm body painting and then drawing and illustrating. I went to an art school here in the States in Savannah, Georgia, called Savannah College of Art and Design, which is called SCAD. So they have campuses in Atlanta, Savannah, Lacoste, as well as in Atlanta, Georgia. And so I majored in illustration and I minored in this mini major called fibers. So what fibers entails is basically yarn work. So like knitting, crocheting, and also with felting and natural dyeing, color dyeing, and things of that nature. So It's your story of how you delve into these different aspects of art is relatable, because I was the same way. So one thing of art led to another aspect of art. So it's really cool. You know, you'd be surprised at how many things you dive into or it just falls into your lap. Now, I wanted to talk about your experience being a mobile nail technician.
Yeah.
You mentioned that in your biography. Can you tell us about your experience about being a mobile nail tech and the things that you went through during that time? And also, like, what are some tips of how to have a successful salon business, whether it's mobile or a physical place or online?
So, okay, so when I was a mobile nail tech, we're talking 25 plus years ago now. So it's very different to how it is today. And at the time, back then, I mean, we had mobile phones, but you didn't use them because it cost a fortune, you know, so you had your diary, and if you weren't, you know, you had to sort of juggle things. And I found out the most difficult was juggling my time and making sure I was at a place at a certain time. And what I found the worst about being mobile was that the clients felt that it was okay to sit there with their dressing gown on and not be ready for you, or to be halfway through their nails and then go put the dinner on. And so your time isn't important to them. You're there to service them. And I found that the most difficult, and I didn't want to be a mobile nail technician. I you know, carrying stuff in, and then I never had the right stuff for you know, one time I remember turning up, she didn't have a dining room table. I had to do it on an ironing board.
Wow,
and
really?
I thought, this is it. I had the ironing board up, and then I'm sat on the sofa. She sat on a dining room chair and I'm sat on the sofa, or the other way around.
Oh,
and
wow.
it was just horrible. It was just awful. So, you know, now you've got equipment that you can carry with you. But back then, we didn't have those facilities, you know, we didn't have all of the, you know, the gadgets and stuff. But I opened a salon, and, you know, you asked for top tips, or you asked for people running salons. I would say, aside from making sure that you have a good salon identity and understanding, you know, your objective. What are you? Is this a salon just for you? Do you want to branch out? Do you want to grow it? Understanding all of those, then market yourself well. And I think having a good strategy when it comes to marketing yourself, a good story, a backstory, who you are, what you can offer somebody. So many times I see people's bios, or I see their advertising or marketing, and it says, I am Sam Biddle. I can do this, I can do that, I can do the other. But actually, it's not about who I am and what I can do. It's about you. And it's, hi, you want to have your nails done? This is the place, because we have all of this that we can offer you. And it's just that little turn, so that the hero of the story is actually the clients, and it's never about you. You're just the guide. You're just the person that can actually sort of come along behind them and go, here, this is what we can help you with, and make you a success. So that's what my massive, to any businesswoman out there, because you are all businesswomen, do not forget that. Just because you're a nail technician, it means you're a businesswoman, and you are quite powerful in your own little area, in your big area. You are the power. You have the power. And that is, you know, what a businesswoman is. You don't have to work in a high rise and wear power suits. You know, a businesswoman comes in all sorts of shapes and sizes. Sorry, that's my autofocus. I'm going to switch that on. So anyway, and as you can see, I get really passionate about this. I get quite, so especially about marketing.
Yeah, that's understandable, because considering marketing, you have your own book where it talks about marketing in like the beauty industry as a whole. Like, can you explain what your book is about?
Sure. The book is actually there's so many books out there that are that are so boring. That are so boring. So this is actually practical steps, and it's a really easy read. So it's a case of, right, this is what you want to achieve, this is how you do it, and it's just the foundation. Now, I also have an Instagram secrets course. I have a marketing, it's called the 7 Principles of Marketing. If you're into nail art, I have it's probably one of my best courses called Nail It with Confidence. And it centers around marketing and about how to post. But with each module, you actually have nail art centered around that. And then it tells you, right, take this, do this with it. Do this, write this with it. You know, this is how you present this. And it gives you set instructions. It's got like a workbook at the bottom, which is where you do all the things that can help your business grow. And after the Nail It with Confidence, you've finished with that, you should have the foundations of, and coupled with the book, you should have the foundations of any good marketing. I'm hoping it then creates as much of an obsession about marketing as it does with me, because you know,
right,
I love marketing. I just love it.
Yeah. Marketing is very, very important. It's critical for anybody who is starting a business and things of that nature. Also, talk about your Be Inspired business. How did that come about? Because I know you sell products like from gel paints as well as brushes and art pens. So how did that get started?
So I have 2 businesses. One's Be Inspired, which is the education, and then one's Be Creative, which is the side, all the extra little products. And I'm in partnership with the Be Creative side of the business with my business partner, Rebecca Orme. And I went into business with her because I'm not interested in distributing or being a brand at all. As I said before, I like my marketing, I love my people, and I love education, and I like art. You know, it's just that's it. I'm not interested in anything else. But I do find that when I'm on my courses and I'm using something exciting, like at the time pigments or gel paints, they're like, oh my God, Sam, where did you get that from? And I'm like, well, if you go on down to, you know, AYM and nails, and they'll sell it for you. Or if you go to ABC Design, they'll give you that. And I'm like, well, wait, hold on, because I'm a businesswoman. I'm like, well, if I grab that product, if I rebranded it, or if I developed a new product, which I did with the nail art pen, the pigments, there were no pigments in the industry before we brought ours out. Like we were the first with pigments. And the gel paint as well, just including those in as a new and unique idea. We also sold a lot because we had all my classes and used them all. So Be Inspired Online is an online membership that you can be part of, and I can give you feedback, and you work alongside me throughout the time that you go through each of the modules. It uses all of my products from Be Creative. So you get like hefty discounts and all sorts of things. So that's where the 2 businesses sit side by side, but they're 2 separate businesses.
Oh, all right.
Because Rebecca does all the work with the distribution.
Okay. I wanted to ask about nail art. What is your favorite medium to use when creating nail art, and what is like your favorite product to use?
Okay, so I have been doing a lot of nail art with gel paint. I actually have started using a new product. Well, it's not really new. It's from Mystic Nails, which I don't know if they're available in the US, called Legrand. I do believe there is a version of it with crystal nails, but I can't tell you if that's true. And it's basically a gel paint that has no inhibition layer at all. So I get the benefits of gel paint, but what I do get is without that sticky layer, when I put another layer on top, it's like a brand new, that it doesn't self-level. So I have a little bit more control. But I couple that with regular gel paint as well, because I don't know, I just find, I just find it easier.
Mm-hmm.
That is maybe number one. Number two, close second, is aquarelle and watercolor. I just could do that with my eyes closed. It just is such an easy, free way of doing art. Yeah, it's just relaxed. You know, I don't like you with one stroke. You have to. There's certain ways, and you know, to create something, you have to do something. Whereas with watercolor, you just put the watercolor on there and hope. Oh, look at that, we'll leave that. So I would say those two really, and of course I finish everything off with acrylic, you know, with hand painting anyway. So yeah, I'm doing a design at the moment. It's like a little I'm actually in the middle of it. It's a little Grinch design, and I'm using plasticine gel, and I realized that that it's not as easy for me. Do you know? I mean, I can do it. Of course, I can do it. But it makes you have to think about it, and I think that's when your creativity gets stilled. Sometimes when you have to go through the process and thoughts, you doubt yourself, and I think when you're confident with something, it's easier to be creative.
What is your favorite nail art technique that you like to use on your nails or any type of art that you do?
Well, what do you mean nail art technique?
Like
so
what,
as in the gel painting, or so in what way? Like
stippling, cross hatching, painting, or like sketching?
Painting. Yeah, always painting. You know, if I've got a client that comes in, I like, my art is very much realism. I like things to look real. I like things to, you know, I do portraits, I do, you know, animal portraits. I have a well, it's a rescue dog, and I'm having him stay over for the day. So I'm bribing him with dog treats. It's like, you haven't given me one in 10 minutes. You haven't given me one in the last 2 minutes. But he's very nervous. You should see him. He's skin and bone. Sorry, I'm interrupting the interview, but he's the cutest thing ever. My other dog's not so impressed. Okay, sorry. We were talking about, yeah, I would say I'm more of a realistic artist, and so whenever I have a client or somebody that wants to come and have nail art done, I try to make things look as real as possible. And I'll do animal portraits, whether it's nails or on digital art. I sell those. I do portraits, so there's lots of things that I do.
Speaking of realism, who are like your favorite artists that you looked up to, you know, in terms of that type of style that you're into with realism, or any artist that you're inspired by? Who's like your favorite artist?
I don't know. I get intimidated by other artists. I do. And I get worried about them, because I'm like, I'm not good enough. I'm not the same as them. So you have a background of education with art. I do not. I did art A levels, but we never learned about the history of art or anything like that. So there's a couple of artists, there's a couple of courses I've done online, and I'm looking at their face, their portraiture, and then but I can't tell you what their names are. I could probably find out from my course. And one of them's Dutch, one of them is American, I think, one of them is Danish or Swedish or something. So but stunning portraits, really amazing. So, but I can't tell you really, because I feel like now I feel like I should know that answer, but I can't tell you. I haven't got one. Yeah. I will say I am floored and impressed and inspired by everybody, regardless of what they do. You know, I've been asked this before, about who's your favorite educator in the industry, or who's your role model. And every time I've always answered nobody and everybody, because, if I look at your work and I see your work and you inspire me to try something else, or give me an idea to do something, then you are my hero in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think every single person, regardless of whether they've done it for 10,000 years or whether they've done it for 2 minutes,
mm-hmm.
is an expert, because they've been able to install in you something absolutely precious, inspiration. Mm-hmm. And I think that's great. I think that's really good.